Most people see scorpions as deadly pests to be eliminated at all costs. But here's a shocking contradiction that will change everything you think you know about these ancient predators. A single drop of the rarest scorpion venom can be worth up to $39 million per liter, making it more expensive than liquid gold, diamonds, or any precious metal on Earth. While you're reaching for bug spray when you spot one in your garage, specialized farms across the Middle East and China are carefully nurturing thousands of these arachnids in climate-controlled laboratories, transforming what most consider pure terror into revolutionary medicine. In Morocco alone, over 200,000 scorpions are currently being milked in facilities that look more like pharmaceutical laboratories than traditional farms. The numbers are staggering. The global scorpion venom industry processes venom from more than 2,000 different species, yet only 30 species produce compounds valuable enough for medical research. A single facility in Tunisia houses 100,000 scorpions, with each animal potentially living up to 8 years in captivity, producing microscopic amounts of liquid that could save human lives. What makes this liquid so incredibly valuable? The answer lies in peptides, so complex and powerful that modern science is only beginning to understand their potential. These natural compounds are being developed into treatments for cancer, rheumatoid arthritis, autoimmune diseases, and neurological disorders that affect millions worldwide. Join us as we dive into this hidden industry where ancient predators become unlikely heroes, where rural communities in North Africa and Asia have found economic salvation in creatures most people fear, and where the line between exploitation and medical breakthrough becomes surprisingly thin. The commercialization of scorpion venom began in the 1960s, when researchers discovered that compounds in certain species could halt cancer cell growth. What started as curiosity-driven research has evolved into a multi-billion-dollar industry that operates in the shadows of mainstream agriculture. Today's scorpion farming represents a fascinating intersection of ancient biology and cutting-edge biotechnology. These arthropods, which have remained virtually unchanged for 400 million years, now find themselves at the center of humanity's fight against its most challenging diseases. The irony isn't lost on researchers. Creatures that evolved to kill are now being harvested to heal. The economic importance cannot be overstated. A single gram of refined scorpion venom can sell for $8,000 to $12,000 to pharmaceutical companies, making it more valuable per weight than cocaine or platinum. The global market for scorpion venom-derived products reached $16 billion in 2024, with projections suggesting it could double by 2030 as new applications are discovered. What makes scorpion venom so special? Unlike snake venom, which primarily affects blood and tissue, scorpion venom contains highly specific peptides that can target individual types of cells or proteins in the human body. These peptides act like molecular keys, unlocking or blocking specific biological processes with surgical precision that synthetic drugs struggle to match. The production scale is massive, yet invisible to most consumers. Major facilities in Morocco, Tunisia, Israel, and southwestern China collectively house over 500,000 scorpions in production. Each animal produces an average of 2 milligrams of venom per extraction session, requiring thousands of individual animals to produce even small quantities of the final product. Primary markets include the United States, Germany, Switzerland, and Japan, where major pharmaceutical companies like Amgen, Roche, and Novartis are developing scorpion venom-based treatments. These companies purchase crude venom for $1,000 to $15,000 per gram, depending on the species and purity level, then invest millions more in refining specific compounds for clinical trials. The journey begins with the careful selection of wild scorpions, primarily focusing on species like Liurus quinquestriatus from North Africa, Androctonus australis from the Sahara, and Heterometrus spinifer from Southeast Asia. Professional collectors, often working in teams of 3 to 4 people, venture into desert regions during cooler evening hours when scorpions are most active. Collection requires specialized knowledge passed down through generations. Experienced collectors can identify valuable species by their size, coloration, and behavior patterns from distances of several meters. They use ultraviolet lights to spot scorpions, whose exoskeletons fluoresce blue-green under UV radiation, making them easily visible against desert rocks and sand. The initial capture process is surprisingly gentle. Collectors use long-handled forceps and specialized containers with secure, ventilated lids. Each scorpion is immediately placed in an individual container to prevent fighting and cannibalism, which is common when multiple scorpions are housed together. Temperature control during transport is critical. Most species require temperatures between 75–85 degrees Fahrenheit to remain healthy. Upon arrival at farming facilities, each scorpion undergoes a thorough health assessment. Veterinarians trained in arthropod biology examine the animals for parasites, injuries, or signs of disease. Only the healthiest specimens, typically representing about 60–70% of captured animals, advance to the production facility. The others are either treated and held in quarantine or released back to their natural habitat. The housing setup is remarkably sophisticated. Each scorpion lives in its own individual terrarium, measuring approximately 12 inches by 8 inches by 6 inches high. These enclosures feature temperature and humidity controls, specialized substrates that mimic natural desert conditions, and hiding places that reduce stress levels. The facilities maintain temperatures between 80–90 degrees Fahrenheit during the day and 70–75 degrees at night, replicating natural desert temperature fluctuations. Feeding protocols are strictly regulated. Adult scorpions receive 2 or 3 live crickets or mealworms every 10–14 days, carefully calibrated to maintain optimal body weight without overfeeding. Juvenile scorpions eat smaller prey items like fruit flies or pinhead crickets every 5 to 7 days. Water is provided through small dishes with sponges to prevent drowning, and humidity levels are maintained at 20–30% to match their arid natural environments. The setup phase takes approximately 6 to 8 weeks, during which time the scorpions acclimate to their new environment and feeding schedule. Once established, scorpions enter a carefully monitored growth and maintenance phase that can last up to 8 years for individual animals. During this period, their care resembles that of laboratory animals more than traditional livestock, with detailed records kept on each specimen's health, feeding response, molting schedule, and venom production capacity. Feeding management becomes increasingly sophisticated as the scorpions mature. Nutritional content of prey items is carefully controlled, with crickets and mealworms raised on specialized diets designed to optimize the scorpion's venom potency. Some facilities even supplement prey with calcium and vitamin D3 to ensure proper exoskeleton development during molting periods, which occur 4 to 6 times before the scorpions reach full adult size. Environmental monitoring systems track temperature, humidity, and lighting conditions 24 hours a day. Advanced facilities use automated systems that adjust these parameters based on seasonal patterns and individual species requirements. For example, Liurus quinquestriatus requires a 6-week cooling period at 65–70 degrees Fahrenheit annually to trigger proper reproductive cycles, even though reproduction isn't the primary goal in venom farms. Health monitoring involves regular veterinary inspections every 30 days. Common issues include fungal infections, which can devastate entire populations if not caught early, and parasitic mites that can weaken the animals and reduce venom production. Treatment protocols use arthropod-safe medications and sometimes require individual isolation until recovery is complete. Quality control measures extend to venom testing even before extraction. Random samples of scorpions undergo stress tests to ensure their venom glands are functioning properly. Animals that show decreased venom production or signs of illness are removed from the production line and either treated or retired to prevent contamination of venom batches. Technology plays an increasingly important role in modern facilities. RFID chips embedded in terrarium labels track individual animals' production history, genetic lineage, and health records. Automated feeding systems ensure consistent nutrition delivery, while climate control systems maintain optimal conditions even during external weather fluctuations. Preparation for venom extraction begins 72 hours before the procedure. Scorpions are moved to specialized holding areas where they're fasted to ensure their digestive systems are empty, reducing the risk of contamination during the extraction process. The venom extraction process, known as milking, is performed by highly trained technicians using a method called electrical stimulation. Each scorpion is carefully restrained using specialized clamps that hold the body without causing injury, while leaving the tail and stinger free to move. The entire procedure takes place under sterile conditions in laboratory-grade clean rooms. A low-voltage electrical current, typically 5 to 15 volts, is applied to the scorpion's telson, the segment containing the venom gland, using microelectrodes. This stimulation mimics the natural muscle contractions that occur when a scorpion stings, causing the venom glands to contract and release their contents through the stinger. The electrical pulses are carefully calibrated to extract venom without causing pain or permanent damage to the animal. The venom emerges as tiny droplets from the stinger tip and is collected using microscopic glass capillary tubes or specialized micropipettes. A single extraction session yields an average of 0.5 to 2 milligrams of crude venom per scorpion, depending on the species, size, and time since the last extraction. The entire process takes 15-20 minutes per animal, and a single technician can milk approximately 200 or 300 scorpions during an 8-hour shift. Immediate processing is critical for maintaining venom potency. The collected venom is immediately flash-frozen in liquid nitrogen at 196 degrees Celsius, preserving the delicate protein and peptide structures that give the venom its medical value. Each batch is labeled with detailed information, including species, extraction date, facility location, and individual animal identification numbers for complete traceability. Different grades of venom command vastly different prices in the pharmaceutical market. Crude venom from common species like Heterometres spinifera sells for $1,000 to $2,000 per gram, while highly purified venom from rare species like Liurus quinquestriatus can reach $15,000 to $20,000 per gram. The most valuable compounds, such as chlorotoxin from Liurus, can sell for $39 million per liter when refined to pharmaceutical-grade purity. Distribution networks operate through specialized biological supply companies that maintain cold chain logistics to ensure venom integrity during shipping. Major distributors like Alpha Biotoxin in Belgium and Latoxin in France serve as intermediaries between venom farms and pharmaceutical companies, providing quality assurance and regulatory compliance documentation required for medical research applications. Quality control standards rival those of pharmaceutical manufacturing, with each batch undergoing mass spectrometry analysis to verify peptide composition and potency levels before sale. The scorpion venom industry employs approximately 15,000 people worldwide, with the majority of jobs concentrated in rural areas of North Africa, the Middle East, and southwestern China. Professional venom extractors, who undergo 6 to 12 months of specialized training, earn salaries ranging from $35,000 to $65,000 annually, significantly higher than average incomes in their regions and comparable to healthcare professionals in many developing countries. Rural communities have experienced transformative economic benefits from scorpion farming. In the Sahara regions of Morocco and Tunisia, entire villages have shifted from subsistence agriculture to scorpion collection and farming, creating sustainable income sources in areas where traditional farming is increasingly difficult due to climate change and water scarcity. A typical family operation managing 500 to 1,000 scorpions can generate $20,000 to $40,000 in annual revenue. The value chain extends far beyond the farms themselves. Supporting industries include specialized equipment manufacturers, climate control system providers, prey insect farms, veterinary services, and cold chain logistics companies. In Israel, the scorpion venom industry, has spawned 12 biotechnology companies focused exclusively on venom-derived drug development, creating an additional 3,000 high-skilled jobs in research and development. Export markets are dominated by wealthy nations with advanced pharmaceutical industries. The United States imports approximately 40% of global scorpion venom production, valued at $6.4 billion annually. Germany and Switzerland together account for another 25% of imports, while Japan, South Korea, and China represent rapidly growing markets as their domestic pharmaceutical industries expand. Compared to traditional agriculture, scorpion farming offers remarkable returns on investment. A single hectare devoted to scorpion farming can generate 10 or 20 times more revenue than the same area used for wheat, barley, or olive cultivation. The initial setup costs are higher, typically $50,000 to $100,000 per facility, but the ongoing operational costs are relatively low since scorpions require minimal food and can survive in controlled environments for many years. Future growth projections are extremely optimistic, with industry analysts predicting 15–20% annual growth through 2030 as new medical applications are discovered and existing treatments enter clinical trials. The development of automated milking systems and improved breeding techniques could dramatically increase production efficiency and reduce costs, potentially making venom-derived medicines more accessible to patients worldwide. The explosive growth of scorpion venom farming raises significant ethical questions that the industry is only beginning to address. Animal welfare advocates argue that keeping thousands of predators in individual containers for up to 8 years constitutes a form of factory farming that prioritizes profit over creature comfort. While scorpions don't experience pain the same way mammals do, recent research suggests they may have more complex sensory experiences than previously understood. Environmental concerns focus on the impact of removing large numbers of wild scorpions from their natural ecosystems. These arthropods play crucial roles as both predators and prey in desert food webs, and some conservation biologists worry that intensive collection could disrupt ecological balance in already fragile arid environments. However, proponents argue that farming reduces pressure on wild populations compared to the alternative of continuous wild harvesting. The sustainability question extends to habitat preservation. As climate change makes traditional agriculture increasingly difficult in arid regions, scorpion farming offers communities an alternative that works with, rather than against, desert conditions. Some facilities have begun incorporating habitat restoration projects, creating protected areas where wild scorpions can thrive while also serving as genetic reservoirs for farming operations. Worker safety represents another ethical dimension often overlooked in discussions of this industry. Despite protective equipment and training, venom extraction technicians face daily exposure to potentially lethal stings. Facilities report 15–20 envenomation incidents per year per 100 workers, though modern anti-venom treatments have reduced fatalities to near zero in well-equipped facilities. From a medical ethics standpoint, the development of scorpion venom-derived treatments raises questions about accessibility and pricing. When a cancer treatment costs $50,000 per dose and originates from animals housed in developing countries, critics question whether the communities bearing the environmental and labor costs receive fair compensation for contributing to treatments they themselves cannot afford. The industry stands at a crossroads between remarkable medical potential and responsible development. As compounds derived from scorpion venom show promise for treating Alzheimer's disease, multiple sclerosis, and rare childhood cancers, the question becomes not whether this industry should exist, but how it can evolve to balance human medical needs with environmental stewardship and ethical animal treatment. What do you think about this hidden industry that transforms desert predators into medical miracles? Should we embrace scorpion farming as a sustainable way to develop life-saving medicines? Or does the industrial-scale confinement of these ancient creatures cross an ethical line we shouldn't cross? Share your thoughts in the comments below, And don't forget to subscribe for more stories about the surprising ways nature and medicine intersect in our modern world.